It's Bullet Mercenary, back with another Bullet 101 video. In a prior video, we talked about having PREMOVES enabled as a setting on chess.com. But what does that actually mean, and how can we effectively use them? Let's bullet over and find out. So what is a PREMOVE? A PREMOVE is when you try to make a move, which will show as this red highlighted square when it is your opponent's turn to move. So for instance, as soon as your opponent makes a move, this will be the automatic response. And that essentially is a PREMOVE. Why do we put a PREMOVE in place? It's because we want to make sure we manage the time effectively. If the opponent moves and they're going to run low on time, we also know we're running low on time. So as soon as the opponent moves, we want to be able to flag the opponent such that when we react, the opponent flags and we are the victor. That in essence is why we want to make a PREMOVE. Make sure we're making a move preemptively on the opponent's clock such that we can get the win there on time. A unique feature about chess.com is also its ability to chain PREMOVES. So last time we had PREMOVed king e2, so any response by black would be met by king e2, providing king e2 is a legal move. However, we could also chain in king f3. So therefore, as black had moved two squares, as long as king e2 and king f3 are legal, they would both come into fruition. So for instance, if black had moved rook d5, for instance, our king now is currently on e2. And let's say the rook rather moves to b5, our king is now on f3. As a response, we can also chain as many moves as we want in sequence in order to try to flag our opponent. So we only have less than 10 seconds, and so we're pre-moving as much as possible. And so black is going to try to move, but we have already pre-moved everything. And if they haven't pre-moved, they are using valuable time from their clock, and we are eventually going to win this game on time. What's worth noticing on chess.com is that each pre-move actually does cost 0.1 seconds off of a clock. So going back to this original position, we had pre-moved king e2, and so we go down from 2.9 seconds, 2.8 seconds, king f3 cost us 2.7 seconds, 2.6, 2.5, 2.4, etc. And so while the opponent was using more time, we still lost some time from the clock. So if we're able to actually chain 10 consecutive pre-moves, we actually are able to make 10 moves in 1 second. So that's definitely worth noting. Now the question is, when is the best time to actually execute a PREMOVE? So firstly, when you're under 10 seconds and you're first starting off, try to PREMOVE as much as possible. It's very unlikely your opponent will be able to checkmate you when you're that much time, and they're also in time pressure. So if you're under 10 seconds, just try to start making a PREMOVE. And similarly, if your opponent's under 10 seconds, then maybe start trying to flag them. Even if you're up material or down material, start bringing the PREMOVEs in and being able to actually execute the flag. 3 other PREMOVE ideas that I want to get into later videos is going to be this king and queen PREMOVE endgame, and I'm going to show you a technique that is going to be able to easily use to flag your opponent and potentially deliver checkmate. Additionally, you want to be able to PREMOVE after you give check. So if you give check to your opponent has to respond. You should be able to kind of predict the opponent's responses and therefore PREMOVE accordingly to save yourself valuable time. And in a similar vein to that, you also want to be able to PREMOVE recaptures. So we're going to get into tips 3 to 5 in a later video series. Make sure you guys stay tuned for that, and take care.